Hi, my name is Laura Waterhouse, and I'm going to tell you about my vacation when I went to Washington, D.C. Well, 2 years ago, my dad had gone to Washington, and we went to visit my two cousins, and it was warm in comparison to here. Sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's cold, and uh, you know, that first night that we were there, it was raining. So we went to visit them, and what happened was we wanted to go to Gallaudet because we heard it was a nice school, and we wanted to go visit one day.
How did you pick that place to go on vacation?
Well, the reason why was my mom had a meeting in Washington, D.C., and me and my brother, we wanted to go. So we decided to go to Washington, D.C. with her. Um,
Oh, can you introduce yourself and tell me about a favorite vacation?
Hi, my name is Laura Waterhouse, and I'm going to tell you about my vacation to Washington, D.C.
That's an interesting place to visit. Tell me about your trip.
2 years ago, my brother and me, we went to Washington, D.C. To visit my aunt and my cousins. So when we had arrived there, the weather was really warm in comparison to here. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's warm, but over there, what had happened the first night, it was raining, and it was the first time that we saw snow. So we had gone to visit, but something happened when we tried to go to Gallaudet uh, one day in our vacation.
How did you pick that place to go on vacation?
Well, the reason was that my during the summer, my mom had a meeting there in Washington D.C., and my brother and me, we were going to go there. So she had her meeting at a fancy hotel for about 3 days, and so we got lucky.
What did you see while you were in Washington, D.C.?
Well, when we got there, we went to go visit a famous museum. So we went to go see the things there, and it was pretty interesting. But something happened to me. I started to feel weird. So we left the museum and we just decided to go back home. And I just kept getting worse. So we finally decided to go see a doctor there. And the doctor told me that I was fine, but if I got worse again, to come back. So we agreed. We went back home. And that night, I just was tossing and turning all night, and I started to feel itchy all over my body. So the next day, we went to the doctor again, and he looked at me, and yeah, he told me that I had scarlet fever, and I needed a lot of sweet chocolate to eat to feel better.
So, did that make you feel better?
Yeah, I ate a lot of sweets, but I felt worse. It really wasn't working. The next day, that night, I just kept getting worse. So my mom and my aunt, they decided to take me to the hospital. So we left the house. I feel very blurry, and especially when we were driving there. And what happened? There was a car that went right in front of us, right in front. So my mom started yelling, but the car started yelling at her, but she couldn't hear because my mom is deaf. So anyway, we ended up arriving to the hospital, and as soon as they opened the car door, I threw up. We went in the hospital, and the doctor looked at me and agreed, yeah, that I was really sick. So I decided to go back to the hotel, and we stayed there an extra 2 days. And I just watched TV. So my mom had fallen asleep, and we watched TV.
Sick on your vacation?
It really wasn't that horrible. We were struggling to find an interpreter to go to Gallaudet. So we kept calling and calling and calling, and then the day that we finally were able to go, it's when I was sick, so I couldn't go.
Did you get to do anything fun while you were there?
Yeah, I met my mom's friend and her 2 kids. They were about my same age. One was younger, kind of like my brother. So we kind of grew up together, and we hadn't seen him for a long time. So we were just playing around, and it was really fun.
Did you see any other museums or do much sightseeing while you were there?
Well, when we went to go visit different museums, we saw the museum of, well, it was called the Holocaust Museum. It was a very sad museum. And, they had a story about one girl's life in camp and what she experienced. We went to go visit the other museum. That day was really windy, so we couldn't really go in. Um, we really wanted to go, but we couldn't. And then another museum that started with an A. It was an art museum. That one was interesting. I had never been there before.
After your bad experience being sick, do you think you'd like to go back to Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, last July we did go back to Washington, D.C. to finally go to Gallaudet. We went to a camp, and we got to spend some time there. And that time I was not sick.
Did you see anything different the second time you were there?
Yeah, I saw more of Gallaudet University, and I got to see so many deaf kids there. That was very cool. Well, I met some deaf people. We stayed there at Gallaudet for 1 week. And I stayed at the dorm. So when we were there at Gallaudet, it was pretty fun experiencing the dorm life.
Camp you went to.
Yeah, the camp was there. that was there. It was fun. It was new. Um, we got to learn some skills. Um,
How to play. Cool. Was she deaf?
yeah, she was deaf.
Did you win any games or get any trophies?
I won one trophy.
Think you'd like to go back again someday?
Yeah, I would go back again someday, maybe for another reason.